I'm Anthony Santaro. I'm a VP at Armory Square Ventures. Armory Square is an early stage VC firm based in upstate New York with offices down in New York City. The firm's been around since 2014, and I'm sitting here today with this CEO and co-founder of Thoughtly, Torrey.
Great to have you here. Appreciate you coming by, Anthony.
Thank you for hosting me in the beautiful office.
Definitely. Thank you. Your logo looks great here.
Well, thank you, as does yours. Really excited to have the conversation today, as well as be officially part of the Thoughtly journey. So for context, obviously, Torrey, that you know, we were the Series Seed lead investor. I'm really excited to be partnering with yourself as well as the broader team here. Maybe to kick things off, if you want to just kind of start us off with the origin story of Thoughtly and kind of talk us through what maybe went into the founding of it.
Likewise. I'm really excited that you're here. Really excited that you guys are believing in the vision that we're building here. Going back just a few years ago, I was previously head of product at a company called Affinity Finance. I ended up seeing this huge opportunity in the market where I was using GPT-3. People I was working with, some were not. It was not as prolific as it is today. But I thought, man, this language model, it's talking like I would talk. It can say things that I don't even understand. It's truly incredible how conversational it is. And I mean, I had played with chatbots in the past. This was nothing like it. And so I thought, well, why is there not a way to hook a voice up to it so you can talk, bidirectionally with this language model? And now, of course, we think like this is just in the ChatGPT app. People do this every day. But at the time, it had not been done. And so myself and a few other people who have now founded their own voice AI companies in one way or another, we were all just sitting around in a Discord for a few months, with 11 Labs, Play HT at the time, and even Google Cloud. And everybody was trying to figure out how to hook it up. And, we have to encode audio packets properly, make sure we're at the right sample rate. Everybody's doing different things, right? Like a chat widget on a website with voice versus a phone call, very different, in the technical nuances of what you're building there. So eventually we figured it out. I plugged at the time GPT-3 into Google Cloud text-to-speech, and it sounded awful. It was super robotic, really not advanced at all, but it was really cool because it was talking like it was a super intelligent agent, right? We call it now, but it sounded pretty lame. Then 11 Labs came out and released their developer API. No longer was it just for TikTokers, right, making voiceovers. Then we plugged it all into that, and then everybody went their separate ways. I happened to go with Thoughtly. And Thoughtly specifically was built on the vision that voice agents can be built by anybody, not just developers, not just engineers. And so we're specifically designed for marketing and business teams. And so the way that kind of manifests is we work with these marketing teams, typically at high lead gen consumer organizations that are ingesting tons of leads per month, think like tens of thousands per month upwards. And they are doing some sort of lead scoring, trying to get in touch with all of them, but they just can't. Leads are falling through the cracks. We increase conversion rate by 3x on a per lead basis. And we've done that for every single customer that we've worked with to date. And that's what we're hoping to do with this new fundraise, is take that out into the broader market with more capabilities, more power, and more agent experiences.
Yeah. And you bring up a really good point about doing that drag and drop interface. And it's pretty much no code. It's very light integration, and it already has some pre-integrated integrations, whether that's with Calendly or Salesforce, which when we were doing our own kind of customer discovery calls, as well as speaking to your customers, it was huge of why they would pick Thoughtly over other solutions. Maybe do you want to build off that a little bit more versus maybe some of the more developer focused or more engineering heavy tools, and how are you able to kind of configure Thoughtly to be so native to these RevOps teams?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's interesting because if you picture kind of like my journey, my experience, I'm a developer and I'm an engineer. Like that's what I definitely did in my previous roles, but I'm also more business minded. Mm-hmm. And so that's manifested through the way the platform was built. And that you can now see today in just what's happened over the last few months is every other platform built by developers and developers only. They're developer first, API first, and their first integration for calendar software was the one that they're using, which all developers love, which is cal.com. Not the most popular platform, not used by real estate agents that have no idea how to connect to cal.com's API ever in their life, right? That's Calendly. For the last 2 years, no one has integrated with Calendly except for Thoughtly. We were the only ones. And so now Calendly has actually launched an exclusive partnership with us. And if you go to Calendly's website or you just ask ChatGPT, I want a voice agent for my Calendly link, like how can I do it? It'll say Thoughtly. And that's the goal, is continue that sort of mindset going forward. It's like always be business user first.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is, in the long run, that's the winner, because developers are becoming more of like a product manager. They are able to take more ownership over a broader set of the code base, so there will be less of a need for developers, just like in many other fields in the business world as well. But the business user is going to be what's orchestrating all of these agents. So why not build for them?
That makes total sense. And can you talk maybe specifically with Calendly what it was like being such an early stage startup and being able to set up like an exclusive partnership with this very well known later stage technology company?
Yes, it was from the beginning really, really hard. And that's just because the way we integrated with Calendly. Because they don't have an API, because they're not very developer first a few years ago, it was very hard. We had to build sort of like an RPA agent through a library I used called Puppeteer, which is able to click. So every single time an agent booked an appointment, it literally opened a Chrome browser in the Google Cloud virtual machine and clicked to book the appointment. It worked great. It's like 90+% success rate out of the gate. And then over the last 2 years, we pushed that up until Calendly came to us and they're like, hey, we see you guys are scheduling, I think it was like 100,000 plus appointments per month at the time on Calendly. And it's definitely coming from you guys. So what are you doing? They did a little product discovery with us. Like, how does it work? Can you show us how to do it? And then we informed them, like, this is how you do it with Thoughtly. It's super cool. They were like, this is the coolest thing ever. Then they built this sort of like MCP server, API server for scheduling. We got Zoom to do the exact same thing. They just didn't release the API publicly, but it was for a customer we were working with at the time in the enterprise world using Zoom Scheduler. And all of them said the same thing, like, oh, we typically don't allow programmatic booking of appointments on our platform. And then all the customers say, well, how am I supposed to use your software with a voice agent? And then they connect the dots of like, okay, this is the future. We need to build for this. And we show them that this is what they should be doing.
That's awesome. And maybe going back, you gave the origin story of Thoughtly, but maybe even spending a little bit more time on your background. I think one of your earlier claim to fame was building the largest Minecraft server. Although unfortunately, I don't think you made it into the Minecraft movie. But that's a different point. Could you talk a little bit about at such a young age building something like that, and then how that's kind of has continued to build up into building now a real company in Thoughtly with employees, and we're here in your New York office, and kind of what early experiences that kind of gave you?
Yeah. So first of all, yes, I missed Jack Black's call, unfortunately, that day, but he did tell me, he promised me number 2, I'll be there. But yeah, back in middle school, it was the largest Minecraft server in the world at the time. And it was the first Minecraft server that actually implemented what we call distributed cloud. It was a distributed cloud system through what we called a proxy. And so before every single Minecraft server, you would connect, I don't know if you've ever played, but you would type in the domain or the IP address, the address of the server, connect, and then you're connected to a dedicated or virtual machine, and that's it. It's like everything's running on that CPU, on that memory. It's that computer that you're connected to. And then I remember it was November, like 2012, and I was in 8th grade. And I remember telling my engineers, which was a group of a few developers and myself, I was like, hey, we should, AWS is doing this thing where if you hit one web server endpoint, it'll essentially distribute traffic across many. Why can't we do that? And everybody naysayed. They're like, there's no way we can do that with Java. The packets, they work like this. It's TCP versus UDP. And then I heard the inverse, right? Except for one guy who was like, I think I can do this. And then he literally grinded for a month, got kicked out of middle school, which is disappointing. I hope he has solved that situation, but built it. And now I credit him with being the person who built that proxy system, which is now used today by every single Minecraft server, including Microsoft, which is now called Bungee Cord. Wow. And Microsoft is using it to run their Minecraft servers right this very second with hundreds of thousands of players. This is the only way it's possible, right? Because you can't have hundreds of thousands of players running on a single threaded compute instance in a process like Minecraft. So that was a really big deal at the time.
Yeah.
It's that sort of, I would say, approach that I think myself and everybody at the team here every day needs to take while working at Thoughtly. It's like, I was just telling Will about this morning. Look at what is available right in front of you, right? It's like you've got competitors. You've got, we're obviously trying to be tight on cash to be really efficient. We're a small team. Everything looks really impossible, right? Just like, we want to have more players on our server, and we could just say like that this is the limit and accept that as the reality. Or we could be visionaries and we could say, well, what if there was another way? What if there's another option here? What if we iterate here? And what if we develop something here? And that's like the entire human experience encapsulated into a sentence, I would say. You could sit on Earth and you could say, we'll never go to the moon. That's so far away. How is that even possible? Think about all the metric type. You could have rocket scientists back in the day who were like, all of the fuel that's necessary is impossible. Don't even think about it. But then we did it. So if you take that mindset into every single day when you're working, that's where exceptional generational companies are formed.
And speaking of moonshots, when you think of Thoughtly, what is the moonshot, Pat? Like, what do you see Thoughtly becoming in 5-10 years time?
Well, yes, I think I'm going to provide 2 answers for this. Sure. One, you can share with your LPs. One, we have to cut because it's the true answer because it's possible. But like the public answer of what we want to build is not as cool. AI agents for your revenue team. That takes the form of an embedded CRM in the Thoughtly platform that syncs with your existing CRM. AI agents are working as sort of co-pilots, team members on your team with your existing sales org.
And you've named some of your agents. Do you want to share their names and kind of personas?
Yes. Well, our favorite, and from the beginning, like from the jump, was Tessa. And Tessa was named after my favorite car. Can you guess? I'm not going to tell you. Think about it. Tessa, the...
Tesla.
Tesla. There we go.
So it took me a minute.
So Tesla, named after my favorite car. Tesla, not very creative, but I was just saying earlier, I don't know any Teslas actually. And Young knows a ton of Teslas. Everybody knows is named Tesla apparently, but I don't know any. So it seemed like a good kind of Alexa, Siri, like generic name that you don't picture someone in your head. That makes it kind of weird. I met an Alexa once, and it was kind of weird. I was like, I don't like that. That's odd. You're supposed to be a smart device. But that was the thinking. And so Tessa, really popular on the platform. It's our main flagship voice. 11 Labs did a case study on it. It's on their website about how we used their voice. It was named Natasha, which we renamed to Tessa, of course. Natasha is still a voice available on 11 Labs. Then Cartesia rolled out their own recently voice model, and they recently had an update to it. And they named their flagship model Tessa because it's the most popular voice on our platform through Cartesia. So people love the Tessa branding. Tessa, Thoughtly, Tessa from Thoughtly. It's not alliterative, but the T and the T works very well.
That's awesome. Okay, very cool. And one of the things that we talked about when we first met was kind of this evolution of go-to-market. And it started off as maybe just one-on-one direct sales, cold calling. And then from there, it was one-to-many through email, and email evolved to SMS. And now it's only in the last couple of years that you have voice. Could you want to talk a little bit more about what that evolution has looked like for Thoughtly and how you're continuing to kind of push that forward?
Yeah. So the broader sales world, have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
I have.
Yeah. So kicking your feet up on the desk, being like, Benny, I got a great stock for you. And that guy's trying to hang up on you, right? But you get the pitch through, and then you pull in and you reel in Benny, and Benny gets, he buys the stock from Leonardo DiCaprio. That's obviously been around since telephones were invented. Like you could now, all of a sudden, the telephone didn't exist. Now you can be in someone's house within a snap of a finger. Insane. Now, of course, there's a million ways to do that, but that was the first way to really get into the home. And so that's not new. What is new is in the world, like the age of the internet, we have, email. Email was the number one marketing tool from kind of the day the internet blew up back in the late 90s. People were getting email addresses so they could sign up for things. And then the people that were getting the signups, like in Amazon, I'm thinking, well, maybe we should send someone an email to tell them about a sale we're doing. Oh, that really worked. Now we should test this more and see what kind of data we get back from it. And now it's evolved into marketing, right? But then 10 years later, you have platforms like Attentive that came out with kind of the same type of tool, but for SMS, which I hate because now I'm getting texts all the time from all these Shopify stores. But it works. And you see these products, they get right on your phone immediately, and you're like, oh, that's cool, I'll buy that. It works. Yeah. Meanwhile, there's no way, right, I think 10 years ago, for someone to systematically, programmatically call you, unless it's like a notification call, like press 1 if you're interested. You're not going to sell anything. Yeah. And so now you have the ability to build this sort of like Attentive, MailChimp, Klaviyo, these email marketing, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, these kinds of tools, but for voice AI. And you can see how we've been doing voice as a society, as a sales method for decades. So why not roll it into something that's programmatic and in the cloud, like those other tools? That's really where Thoughtly's power comes from.
And you talked about Thoughtly now helping customers. I think you said 3x conversion, three times higher than it was prior to Thoughtly. And you have a statistic as well as that was only like mid-single digit, I think, percentage of leads that were even being able to be addressed.
Yeah. So a few of our customers have, we have case studies that we've shared publicly. One of them being Nomad. Yeah. Nomad is going to be announcing something very exciting very, very soon. Thanks in part, according to them, to us. Yeah. Which we've loved to see, along with some other customers who have shared the same thing with us. And it's that, hey, we had this many leads coming in per day last year, and we couldn't call all of them. We couldn't get in touch with all of them via whatever channel. Yeah. So we did lead scoring, and we'd only call this % of them with our team of X SDRs, let's say like 10 SDRs. The 10 SDRs, the 10 advisors, whoever they are, making calls every day, getting these people on the phone, getting them booked with an account executive, getting them into the program, getting them whatever the sell is, the conversion is. Well, now all of a sudden we come in. And the rest of the funnel was previously getting like email, drip campaigns, things like that. And we immediately went in, took that bottom 90% of those leads, and that conversion rate on those leads went up by 3x, which is now on par with the top 10% of leads, adjusted for their lead score in terms of the conversion rate. So now you can get that voice level, call level conversion rate that you already know is very high across your whole funnel without having to spend a ton of money on SDRs calling every lead that comes through. That's impossible, right? You can't scale a company and also maintain that. And so what they did is they took those SDRs and they promoted them all to sellers, to full advisors. They've done this across every company that we've worked with. And now we're that top of funnel, getting them on the phone, chat with them for 90 seconds, answer questions, pitch them a little bit, but also do qualification, right? So it's a little give and take. And then if qualified, answered their questions, transfer them over to a human who can convert them from there.
Very cool. And earlier you mentioned that you're really focusing on high intent industries, but that can be several different industries. But you have seen some groupings in real estate and insurance and education.
Yeah, it's a great question. I actually just was talking about this yesterday on a different podcast, and I used the example of chapstick and a mortgage. So two very different products, but they're both targeted at consumers. Imagine if you got a phone call and it's like, Anthony, this is Paul with Trader Joe's. Notice you didn't buy that chapstick you picked up yesterday. You'd be like, please never call me again. I'm not spending time talking about chapstick right now. My lips are great. Thank you very much. And then you'd hang up and then you'd probably report them because they're being annoying. You might have opted in at checkout, right? And so you gave them consent to give you a call when you were checking out at Trader Joe's, but you didn't buy the chapstick. A lot of folks we talk to want to do something like that in the voice AI space. That does not work. High intent, high consideration is really the key. So now we go over to the mortgage. So let's say you go to a form online, you're buying a home, your real estate agent puts your information in somewhere at your request, or you go on some different sites and you're providing your information. Now you get a call and it's the same Paul, he's a voice agent, and he's like, hey Anthony, Paul here from X mortgage company, saw you're interested in buying a new home. Congratulations, how's that process going for you? Oh, well, actually, yeah, it's going pretty well. Now you're kind of engaged because you're like, I do want a mortgage. And I also am not gonna just do this on my own, right? It's not like Amazon when we're talking about high consideration purchasing. You're not going to go online and just get a mortgage. Be locked into buying and paying for something for the next 30 years of your life without maybe like talking to someone first, right? The human element definitely changes a lot of aspects of that purchasing decision. Same thing applies to a course at a university, whether it's bachelor's, executive education, or master's program. It's a big decision. Think, for example, we're working with University of Cape Town in South Africa via our partner there, 2U. And there are dozens of dialects across the entire region outside of Cape Town. And previously, it was really, really challenging to answer people's questions about a class when over the phone, you really can't understand what they're saying. In fact, you can't even pronounce their first name if you're me or you calling these people. And so conversion was really low. And it was really hard to talk to people and level with them and get on their level about like, you're a nurse and you really want to get this like next step in your career. Would love to help you with that. But there's like a language barrier there. It's challenging. Maybe not everybody even has the time to get a call. Well, we can go in and we can level with these people, prospective students, answer the questions for them, and then get them comfortable with actually taking the course. Now their enrollment at University of Cape Town, again, same thing here, 3x conversion rate.
And one of the things that was really impressive with the platform was the breadth of like personalities and languages. It's hundreds or thousands. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about like the personas that customers are able to choose from?
Yes. So we have hundreds of languages available. We have, I think, hundreds of thousands of voices now available. Now, that's really helpful. It's just not something that we produce, right? We're letting you use 11 Labs, Cartesia, all these different providers. They have all these voices and you can go play around with them, choose one that fits your branding the best. So at the end of the day, there's never like, oh, I couldn't find a voice that I liked. That's impossible. Just keep there's a voice in there that you will like, I guarantee it. And then these agents can pronounce words and names perfectly. And so when we're talking about these kind of international dialects, even some languages that aren't really spoken in the Western world, these agents can say names perfectly. And it blows our mind when we listen to these call recordings every time.
And can you talk maybe more about those call recordings and how you're able to continually improve the conversations?
Yes. So one thing that we're releasing with our next update, V2 platform on Thoughtly is what we're calling the agentic CDP. So this is separate from our CRM. It's kind of a data platform, but like the idea is that we're bringing all of this under one roof. Every time your agent has a call, we already know today, like what happened on the call. We have the nodes on this kind of Canva-like tree that you've built an agent script on, and we know how the call progressed. So did it make it to the conversion or did it not? We know that today. But what we can do in V2 is super cool. Through reinforcement learning, we can actually take all of that data and then retrain your agents and on a specific model that's now fine-tuned on all of these successful calls. So now you're using what you can kind of tell your team is this is our own model. At this point. This is a model that's purpose-built for my company. And every single month, it gets better and better and better because now we're training it on the calls where it crushed it. It was successfully able to get to that conversion. We're not training it. It's throwing out any data from when it couldn't convert. So now what we can say is pretty tangibly, over the course of a few months, it has closed that model millions of times. What human rep could say the same thing?
And we're calling or doing this from your world headquarters here in Chelsea, New York. Can you talk a little bit more about why you wanted to build a team here in New York, and you have a really strong in-person culture, and we're surrounded with some of your teammates today and below us, and you really have a strong culture here at Thoughtly and kind of the persona that you look for when doing new hiring.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that it was a hard sell to my wife. She definitely wanted to live in where we used to live in Maryland. Before that, I lived in Columbus, and I worked remote basically most of my 20s. And I did not like that. And I noticed while doing that, I was working for other companies, right? Remote. It was like at 5, 6 p.m., you would just go do something else. And there wasn't much affinity, for lack of a better word, because that's also where I worked, but affinity towards the team. Like you didn't feel like you were part of a project, like you're at war, right? You more felt like this is your day job. And then at night, you just go kind of do your own thing. Output was pretty low, I think, across every team I worked with. And I'm like, man, this is really a shame to see, but not my decision. And then when starting Thoughtly, we tried both. We went in person, remote, and then in person again. And every time we're in person, like actually in person, it's the best experience in the world. Because not only do you like make friends with the people you're working with now, they're not just like a 2D face on a screen. You get to go like we golf right here, right? That's so fun. There's a driving range right next door. Those are the kinds of moments that when you share them with people you're working with, a little comment here or there about work comes in, and then it just kind of makes you think about a new way to take care of a challenge, right? Because your brain's fresh. As opposed to completely blocking out anything and any signal from your job until the next day. It's a different mindset. It's like we're building something generational versus it's my day job.
In New York, obviously, there's a lot of companies in the go-to-market space. Did that play into the decision at all? Or how do you kind of see yourself fitting into the broader ecosystem here?
Yeah, New York specifically was an interesting one because at first the decision actually was like, yes, we're building a go-to-market platform, not a developer platform. So it makes sense. We're not going to be an SF with a billboard that's like, our API costs 2 cents less than the other person's API. That's like they can all fight over each other there. Have fun. But we're going to go hang out with Braze on Madison Avenue. I know HubSpot, like some of these companies are up in Boston. Like this, the East Coast is a bit more GTM focused. That's how it started. But over the last few months, I think we've all seen it. New York has become the AI hub. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just us. We got our office here and that kicked the whole process off for everyone else. I think New York and SF are really getting close together here. Sure, the global headquarters for OpenAI, Anthropic, they're in SF, but they've built one that's huge here in New York. 11 Labs just hired, 250 new people for their team here in New York City with Governor Hochul. They worked on that together. That's incredible. And so that's bringing so much talent here into the city.
And so maybe rounding out the conversation around talent. So you've been, your co-founder and CTO is Alex Casella. Maybe talk a little bit about what it's been like building a company with him. And I know he's so talented and has been at the forefront of voice AI and has published some white papers here. So would love to kind of get your perspective on that.
Yeah, Alex is such a great compliment to me. And we were just talking about this the other day. He's like, he was saying this. He's like, Torrey, you can sell anything. And I'm like, you can build anything. Like, great, we should start a company together. Well, here we are. It worked out. So I met Alex through a mutual friend a few years ago, and then he joined the team. We saw our churn reduce from bugs specifically by 80%, in the first 2 months from Alex joining. Not because, nobody's doing anything wrong, but like for enterprise grade software, you kind of need Alex.
Yeah.
You need somebody like that. And he used to work at IBM Watson X Health. After that, he was an engineering lead at Bluecore, a customer engagement tool.
Yeah.
So he knows how to build enterprise grade software. So we needed an Alex, and Alex was the man for the job.
Yeah. And maybe shifting gears a little bit, this has obviously been very centered on Thoughtly. And when we think about the macro overview, I would love to get your perspective on there's always something new developing in the world of AI, and maybe specifically with voice too. Given the fact that you're one of the on the forefront of leading the charge, would love to kind of get your perspective and where you think the market's kind of moving.
Yeah. So I like to answer that with I've had 2 wow moments with AI.
Yeah.
And the first wow moment was back in 2023 when like I was telling you earlier, hooked up 11 Labs to a language model. I was probably one of the first people on the earth to hear this, unless somebody was doing this behind the scenes and like internally, and there was an internal research project or something. But in these Discord servers, right, where all of these developers were communicating about it, I wasn't the first, but like within the day, there were probably a few dozen of us that had done this, heard what it sounded like, and it blew all of our minds.
Yeah.
And we were all like, wow, like kudos to you for figuring it out. This person, like great job from the insight from this person. That was my first wow moment, was talking to a language model using my voice and hearing its voice. It was like, it was very sci-fi.
Yeah.
And now people don't get that because it's just like baked into apps, but it's incredible. The fact that actually can just happen.
Yeah.
And now it's just casually making sales on a phone call.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts if you really think about it.
It is.
Like, it's a computer, right? It doesn't have an opinion or love, but it feels like it does when you talk to it.
And sometimes people don't even know that they're talking to like a voice agent, right? Like, it's that realistic.
Exactly. Which it should, if it doesn't blow your mind, you need to think about it more, because eventually it will. It's literally a chip, right? A silicon chip.
Yeah.
The second one is, I don't know if you've heard of it. I haven't mentioned it once today, but OpenClaw, which is the second wow moment I've had with AI. And that's actually happening this week. It's very popular online on X. People are talking about it like crazy. It's an open source project. First, it was called Claude CLAWD bot, like Claude, because the guy used Anthropic's Claude, but Anthropic didn't like that. Then it was changed to Moltbot, like a lobster claw, molts over time. Somebody snagged the domain when they were in the Discord server talking about it, so then they changed it again. Now it's called OpenClaw, and I think we've locked this one in, so you can Google OpenClaw. But it's if you have not heard of it, you will, because whatever comes next in AI that's actually powerful will be based on the learnings from OpenClaw, which is, it's open source software, so everybody's developing and building on it together, which is phenomenal. But someone will come out and monetize something proprietary. I think like Claude Cowork or Claude Code, right? They're good. They do a specific thing pretty well. Claude Cowork was honestly super lame. Have you used it?
I have not used it extensively.
It's not even worth it anymore. It was worth it 2 weeks ago. It was like, oh, this is cool. Clawbot is a computer. You give it a computer and it can do anything. It's been listening to, at my request, voice messages that are sent to me via iMessage from our general counsel. So he sent me a voice note, listened to it, and then it drafted me a response and then shot somebody an email that he was referring to in the voice note. At my request, of course.
Is that how you respond to my emails as well?
I haven't spoken to you in months. It's always just, no. Everything goes through me. It occupies a Notion page with me where we have a shared to-do list that we maintain together. It's able to add journal entries like on a day-by-day basis of like what it and I learned, which I would not do typically. It's able to, this was crazy. We use a platform called 3CX for our phone system here at Thoughtly. And so if you call the Thoughtly office phone number, which is not published on our website, but like us, then you get a 3CX phone system, which is very anti-Thoughtly, right? But it's like we have to have it at one point. You would type in like an extension of somebody that works here and then get connected to them. Well, my Clawbot has an email here. And so when it got the email, it got an invitation from Colin on our team to set up a 3CX account. And so it was like, hey, should I be on your phone system? Like, I'd be happy to use that if you want me to. I saw this email. And at first I was like, no, you don't need to do that. And then I thought, wait, that would be a voice agent. Yeah, go for it. Call me on my extension 100 when you have it working. It went and built an entire voice agent into 3CX through our platform, using our API, which is not very common. People don't use it. We're a business platform. But now there's a Thoughtly voice agent that you can actually call. I won't give you our extension on this because I don't want people just calling my assistant every day. But it just built it on its own. Wow. And it connected it in via SIP trunk to our 3CX phone system, which is unbelievable.
Wow. And just switching gears entirely now, as part of the fundraise, obviously you talked to a lot of different investors, and this wasn't the first time that you raised capital either. Could you talk a little bit more about what you looked for in an investment partner when going out to market?
Yeah. So I just spoke on this recently. When I was growing up, I've always been of the mindset that there are always people out there who are smarter than you. And I think this is very, very different than a lot of other people who have raised money in the past, like famous names who think that they know everything. I think even Tiger Woods needs a coach. And so I thought about this from, okay, well, when looking for the next investor, what are we really kind of indexing more heavily on? First of all, New York City, because a lot of our investors last fundraise was in San Francisco, which is great. Built a lot of connections out there. But now we need connections here in New York because this is where the company's going to be based for obvious reasons that I mentioned earlier. So that's number one. Number two, we really want that more like premium, somebody like that could work directly with us, be more engaged. Text me with, hey, I saw this. What do you think? Or, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you guys do this? That's not annoying. That's helpful. Like that pushes the company forward. And you don't get that from a huge fund, right? Because you're just an associate, you made an investment into a partner. The partner made the investment, and that's great. But what I was really looking for, and I told Somek this, was a founding partner, which is who led our pre-seed at a 4 in San Francisco. I love working with Gaurav because it's his neck on the line, right? Like this is his fund that he started. He really cares about success and getting us through the next round and then beyond that. And so I was kind of looking for who's the New York version of that. I don't think I could say New York Gaurav, right? But like there's got to be an equivalent or someone very similar. So a similar position, founding partner at his own fund, Somek. He operates in the same way, which is like, you can tell this is my fund. I want to make sure that it's successful and my investments are successful. It's my neck on the line. And I so respect that because he and I are in the exact same boat, right? We're both building something from the ground up. And so we care about it more than like an associate at a huge multi-billion-dollar fund.
Yeah. No, that's amazing to hear. And then maybe if we wanted to wrap with some quick fire questions, maybe what's your favorite non-Thoughtly AI tool?
Clawbot.
Is that easy?
OpenClaw, I should say.
Okay, OpenClaw. Favorite food spot around New York?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, Preston just went to Memorial last night, right? That's here in Chelsea. That's really good. Last night I went to dinner for my weekly dinner with Jenna, my wife, to Chouquette.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And we were like, this is our new favorite restaurant. It's so good. We love Mediterranean food. So probably going to say Momoya for Japanese, Chouquette for Mediterranean, and then maybe not my number one is literally across the street, Alba.
Okay.
If you want Italian food, which I'm sure you do at one point,
I'm a sucker for Italian food,
right?
Yeah.
It's so insane. They have one in New York, one in LA. You got to try we should go sometime. Try the focaccia.
After this. What was the origin of the name of Thoughtly? As well as, I know you're very big into design, the logo as well.
Yes. So when I first started the Thoughtly platform, it started as a voice agent that would interview you and kind of like this on a Google Meet style interface. And you would answer questions for 30 minutes. It was just a fun project on the side. It wasn't even like I had not left my job at this point. 30 minutes, it's on your calendar. AI agent can send you a calendar invitation. You join the calendar invite. It asks you questions based on your LinkedIn and publications online, everything it knows about you. Right. And then you're just getting interviewed. You then take that call recording and it snips it up and creates some thought leadership content for you. Maybe you see where I'm going with this. The platform was originally named Thought Lead, which was not a platform. It was just like a project. And I was like, this is fun. And I shared it with people who wanted, like people I knew who wanted to make thought leadership content. And they're like, this is kind of cool. But then one person who got a hold of it was like, oh, this is neat. And a small business owner, you should make a call to all these people that I got on my lead list. And it kind of drew a parallel with what I was doing at the time at Affinity. And I thought, oh, that sounds like something that would actually make money, not be like a project. That's cool. I should do that. So then I built the telephony integration. That was really challenging at first. And then I was like, Thought Lead is a pretty weird, lame name for a platform like this. Changed it to Thoughtly. And here we are. Origin of the logo is, and I love this, the branding here at the LY is a little squiggle from like an old phone cord.
Oh, okay. I like that.
You'll never unsee it.
And do you still use green?
Yes. But wait till you see our new site. It's gonna be really, really cool. Yeah. So the green is definitely our brand color, but like this is the thing. My dad growing up, like he loved green and orange. I hate green, funny enough. But when used in the right way, it's just so dramatic when you put it when used perfectly. But green is the easiest color to abuse, especially on a computer screen because of the way that they would typically render graphics. Like computer screens were originally built for like we had light mode for so long and no dark mode because computer screens couldn't render dark mode, right? Now all of a sudden we can render millions of colors. So you can really mess up green today. But if done correctly, depending on the contrasting colors, it can be beautiful. And that's what our new website is going to be based on.
So in a world where you can no longer work in the tech sector, I know, very sad, what would you do instead?
I actually thought once before starting Thoughtly, like, man, I don't know if I want to, this is just so much. I don't know if I should do this anymore. That was like 5 minutes. Realized that would not fit me well. So the answer is there is no answer. But the true answer is if I actually was like legally, like there's a restraining order between me and software, then I would move to like San Diego and start some sort of like ice cream or taco truck.
Okay.
Because that's just so fulfilling, right? You get the same customers every day, maybe coffee shop. You got Paul's coming in, Tessa, Dave. You know them all by name. You know their orders. I don't need to hire anybody. I'm just sitting there hanging out, selling coffee at incredible margins until I make enough money back to buy a lawyer to get that restraining order removed so I can get back into software.
All roads come back to Thoughtly.
Exactly.
Torrey, that was all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for hosting me in the office. And we're so excited to be joining you and the rest of the team on this journey, building Thoughtly into the leading company here in the voice AI space.
Likewise. Anthony, it was amazing having you here. Thank you for the time.
Thanks.